What if I told you that I built the perfect camera? Would you pay me for my genius? $10,000, cash only. No refunds. Sensational.
Okay, I was gone for a minute, but I'm back now.
What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy, J Media, back again with another video. So somebody asked me the other day if I could buy all of the camera companies, if I owned them all, and I had access to all of their technology and all of their specs, if I was to create the perfect camera, the perfect fusion of camera, what would it look like? What would it do? That's a question. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. If I had the perfect camera, if I could build this beast of a camera, what would it be? Now, full disclosure, this camera is going to be geared mainly towards videography, YouTubers, content creators, things like that, because that is my primary focus. Now, maybe I'll do a camera based on photography and one based on vlogging later on. If you want to see more of that, let me know in the comment section below. But right now, we're going to be talking about strictly videography, strictly content creation, YouTuber camera setup. First of all, before I do anything, you already know the deal. Be sure to hit that like button, tap that share button to share this with your family and your friends, and that little subscribe button that's just sitting there, you might as well, poke it, right? That way you can be notified anytime I drop more dope content like this one. So let's get into this video. So first off, you got to start with the body, right? That's the basis. That's the foundation, right? I'm going with a fusion of the Sony FX3 and the Hasselblad X1D 250C. Okay, that is way too many acronyms. I don't even know why it's all in there like that. But this camera would look phenomenal. It would be small and lightweight. It would have all the dispersion fans for, heat control and heat sink. Disperse all that heat from all that power energy. This camera will be simple, but elegant, right? It would have the cage-free design, the best grip in the business. Those two grips together, forget about it. This is the grip of the gods, right? The camera gods. This grip would be the most comfortable thing you would ever hold in your hands, ever. It would have the record light, the back record light from the FX3. No EVF. Take the EVF off. We'll get to that later, but take the EVF off for now. It would have a colored record button, like the button that you push to record on. It would be like a bright red or or orange or something like that, so you know where it is. It would have like a texture to it too, not just the smooth flat surface. It would have like kind of a texture. That way you know how to find it when you're not looking at it. It would have a multi-interface shoe mount, which is why I said take the EVF off. We'll get to that again a little bit later. It would have the Sony FX3 doors, but I do want the Hasselblad logo thing on it, right? You know how Hasselblad doors have the little H for Hasselblad? I think that's dope. I think that's phenomenal. Definitely put that on there. It would have full HDMI, a full HDMI port. Don't ever take that away from us. Don't ever take away the full HDMI ever again. That was a mistake from the beginning. Just let us have the full HDMI. No question, this is not a conversation or a debate. It's having it. And the one thing that I loved about both of these cameras that I'm fusing is the fact that it's not the basic black. Now, there's nothing wrong with black. I'm black. There's nothing wrong with being black. But if everybody has the black camera, what's gonna make your camera stand out? I just love the fact that this camera has this modern dark gray look instead of the full black look. It works. It looks more artistic in a way. And I just love it. So I'm definitely keeping that color scheme. All right, so next up, we're going to talk about the battery. How does this thing turn on? That's a very important part. I think I'm going to stick with the Sony Z batteries. I love these batteries. You keep them charged, they're going to last you all day. 2 or 3 of these things, you're pretty much good all day. So I think I'm going to stick with the Sony Z batteries. All right, so since I talked about the EVF, taking the EVF off there, I think it's time to talk about why I took the EVF off there. I think we should include, I would include definitely a option for interchangeable EVF. That's why I have the multifaceted shoe mount, electronic shoe mount, right? So I think Blackmagic should be in charge because they already do this kind of thing with detachable and retachable EVFs, and make it a high quality EVF too. $3 million, right? This thing you can have 2 versions of it. You could have the super cinematic version, or the run and gun version, the smaller Blackmagic against the more cinematic looking Blackmagic. Both of those are available for this camera. You just have to buy both separately. Or one EVF comes with it, and you have to buy the run and gun EVF comes with it, and you would have to buy the cinematic EVF separately. That could work. I think that would work. And by the way, when I say cinema version, I'm specifically talking about the Blackmagic Ursa viewfinder. Make that a part of the deal. Speaking of Blackmagic, let's go to the screen. All right, Blackmagic is definitely in charge of the screen. They're in charge of making the screen. A 5-inch high-res touch screen, fully articulating flippy screen with 1500 nits so you can see it outside in the daylight. What more could you ask? First of all, that screen is massive. A touch screen of that caliber, it's a done deal. It's a videographer's dream. If your dream had a mountain of ecstasy. Now we're talking about mounts. What mount would this thing have? I think I'm gonna stick with the Sony E mount. Yes, I'm biased because I use Sony. I just don't feel like buying new lenses. That's pretty much it. It's not a what is better than what. I just don't feel like buying new lenses. Why am I buying new lenses for a camera that I'm making? No, you guys are gonna buy into my system. So I'm gonna keep the Sony E mount. But I mean, think about it. You get Sony E mount glass, you get the Sony G Masters, you get the Tamrons, you get the Sigmas, you get the Zeiss Badises. I mean, come on, who doesn't want a Zeiss Badis? Those things are like magic. Also, not to mention that the Sony and the Zeiss would be native lenses. A native Zeiss Badis lens. Why are we even talking about this? Why is this a conversation? Speed and processing. I mean, I know I said Sony a lot, but come on, man. When it comes to speed, Sony got it, okay? Think of like the A9 II, but with video. The speed of that camera is ridiculous. The A1, are you kidding me? The speed and the process. Sony has the technology to be the fastest camera in the world. And speaking of processing, 2 card slots is a must in this camera. It's a must. Like, and I'm definitely, Sony did a great job with the 2 card slots that does CF Express Type A and SD card slots. Whoever thought of that they need a raise. They're freaking genius. That's definitely going in this camera. With all that processing power, we can combine the autofocus of like the A7 IV, get the animal eye detect and the face detect, and then couple that with Canon's, only if you're using the EVF, but with Canon's eye focus system, where it tracks where your eye is moving and that's what it focuses on. I don't know how that's gonna work really, but I'm pretty sure that Sony can do it if they're in charge of the speed and processing. If you do it like that, I think you got a camera. So next up, we're gonna be talking about stabilization. No brainer. Panasonic. Panasonic is in charge. Panasonic with a collab with Fujifilm. Fujifilm and Panasonic stabilization on a full frame camera. That thing would be absolutely incredible. This thing would have a stack sensor, of course. Probably have 10-axis stabilization. I don't even know if that's possible, but I'm pretty sure they could find a way to make it happen. Throw a little bit of active stab in there. Also make this thing even more stable. I don't even know how you make it more stable with 10-axis stabilization, but I want this camera to make the cameramen of Maury jealous when they're following the person crying and running out of the studio. I want it to be more stable than that. I want that person to be jealous of this camera stability. Maybe they'll spend more time on the facts before they come on live TV because they were in focus the whole time. The whole time. Next up, we're going to talk about audio, and it doesn't really make too much of a difference because everybody's using external audio devices anyway. But for the preamps of the camera, I think Nikon's preamps, that's what I'm going with. Nikon, make yourself useful. I mean, Nikon honestly has good preamps. It's good enough. And plus, it gives Nikon something to do and some hope before I fire them all. Okay, now for some of the juicy extras. The one thing I'm thinking of is Blackmagic's internal ND system, variable ND system, 2 to 5 stops. That's all you need. Any more than that is kind of overkill. And also, one thing I'm thinking of is the mounting screw on the bottom of the camera. Like, if you've ever seen the iFootage Shark Nano, which I'm making a video on soon, their 1/4-inch screw turns into a 3/8 screw with a push. Like it morphs. Like if they do that to this camera, if we can do that to morph it from a 1/4 inch screw to a 3/8 screw, imagine the implications. We don't even need extra attachments for this thing. We can just put it on almost anything and it's ready to go. That's definitely something I would include in this camera. All right, so let's get into color. I mean, it's no brainer. Why are we even talking about this? Canon is definitely in charge. Canon is in charge, but they're getting some help from Fujifilm. Also, what I kind of want to happen is this thing be able to switch in the menu system between different color profiles, right? You have the Canon Fuji collab profile, the best one. You have Sony S-Cinetone, if that's what you prefer. You even have Blackmagic's RAW. That would be amazing. All in the menu system. Just switch it over. Just having that option would be kind of nice to have. Now for resolution. One of the things that everybody is waiting for. What is he gonna put on it? Is he gonna put 8K in it? Is he gonna put 6K in it? No, I'm not doing either of those. The first thing I'm putting in it is internal H.265 video. That's smaller files, slightly better resolution, but definitely smaller files. Easier to edit, easier to work with. I want good 4K. That's it. That's all you need is good 4K. Actually, I want true 4K. I don't want any of this almost 4K 3800 crap. I want true 4K 4264 or something like that. Don't quote me on any of these numbers, but true 4K. That way, if I want to put this on Netflix, if I want to put any of this footage on a film festival, I meet the requirements. I don't have to go out and rent a red camera or go out and rent an actual cinema camera in order to just have the basic minimum qualifications in order to enter my footage in my film. No, true 4K is what this camera needs to have internally. Or if you're not going to give me that, oversample 4K from 8K. Could you imagine? First of all, it looks beautiful. Let's just go with that. Second of all, oversample 1080p footage from 8K. Have you seen the Canon R5? It looks amazing. Get the popcorn. The cinema is waiting. And of course, this 4K shoots in 24, 30, 60, 120. No crop. And with the 1080p footage, this might sound crazy, might be a little bit overboard, but I'm gonna do it anyway. 24, 30, 60, 120, 240, 480, 960. Boom! What's up? Could you imagine the slow-mo on that? 1080p footage? Oversampled from 8K at 960 frames per second. Now, for the specs. You know what time it is. First of all, no less than 10 megapixels. This is a video camera, 10 megapixels. Actually, if we can really do it, 2 megapixels. I mean, I've already gone off the deep end with the 1080p at 960 frames per second. I might as well give you 2 megapixel cameras. 2 megapixel camera. The low light would be insane. I could probably see your darkest thoughts. I don't want to see that. They're probably illegal. Mine are. It's definitely 10-bit, 422. I don't even know why that's going without saying. Definitely 10-bit, 422. We're not going back to 8-bit, 420. No, 10-bit, 422. And lastly, I love the dual ISO. But I just think the number, the gap, is just ridiculous. Like, you go from like 640 and then the next one is like 12,000. What are you filming? Where are you, in a cave or something? What happened to all of the light? So here's my proposition. Quad native ISO. So like, let's say the native ISOs are 400, 3200, 16,000, 51,000. What black hole are you trying to film? But just so it's there as a native ISO, because this ISO would take inspiration from, it has a 2 megapixel sensor. This ISO probably goes all the way up until 512,000 ISO. Just to give it that range, just to give it that reach, I would have a quad native ISO. Don't know how to do it, But that's what I would want in a perfect camera. So there you guys have it. That is my blueprint of how to build the best camera for video, for YouTube, for content creation. This thing would sell like crazy. Tell me it wouldn't. Tell me you wouldn't buy this camera if you had the money. With those specs, that look, it's inevitable. It's inevitable. I'm even putting in the Blackmagic menu system. Like, I forgot to include that. The Blackmagic menu system with collaboration from Canon. So easy to use, so fun to use. You have everything you need. The slow-mo itself is worth it. Would you buy this camera? Let me know in the comment section below. Or tell me what you would make. Tell me what you would piece together to make a beast of a camera. All right? So until next time, guys, don't stop creating. Don't stop filming. Don't stop doing what you love. And don't steal my idea, because I will find you and I will headbutt you. But I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace.